Peter, good morning to you, and thanks for joining us. I mean, it's been a big week in terms of headlines, which is kind of the norm. However, the price of Bitcoin hasn't been very volatile. It's been flat on the week. What does this say about the currency, the cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I think it starts to point to how mature the market's getting, as well as just like a greater degree of institutional involvement in the space. And so you see less of this sort of retail-driven volatility. But it's certainly been a huge week for news this week in the crypto space.
Peter, what are you seeing that perhaps has changed over the past few months in trading behavior? We were seeing Bitcoin trade reacting a lot to Elon Musk. This week, I think we saw it reacting to El Salvador. It went up and then it kind of settled back down again. There's a lot of talk about holding on for dear life and a segment of people doing that. But there is a huge group of people and institutions certainly not doing that, right?
Yeah, sure. There's lots of people that are trading the volatility, but there's also a lot of demand as a long-term investment. And we see that increasingly from institutions. You know, whenever you've seen the market retrace significantly, you see this sort of huge level of buy support for the market. And so I think there's an awareness that the market's gone up very quickly over the last 12 months. And so you'll see some like profit taking towards the top of those momentum swings, but you also see a huge amount of institutional buy side, you know, when you get towards the like 30s of the market. You know, I think another sort of example of the institutional demand in Bitcoin was the massively oversubscribed bond deal that MicroStrategy did earlier this week.
Yeah, that was huge. And then that deal got upped, which was also interesting. You know, JP Morgan did a piece earlier in the week, Peter, where they said Bitcoin futures, not to get too wonky here, are in backwardation. They say it's a bearish signal, and it's a reflection of how weak Bitcoin demand is from institutions who tend to use CME futures to gain exposure to Bitcoin. I'm not sure how much you're watching it, but if you are, is that concerning?
I don't think that's super concerning. Most of the long-term money in the space is doing it via spot and large custodians. The sort of trading volume in the futures is that vol trader that we're talking about. And so it's, you know, hedge funds that are trading volatility, you know, even the retail on the offshore venues. The futures markets to me is like, that's where the, you know, sort of absolute volatility trader plays. And the spot market is where you see this sort of long-term accumulation. And that's what we're seeing in the market right now. That's why it didn't retrace below 30. And you're seeing just really persistent, strong demand in the spot market, you know, in an accumulation, long-term hold cycle in those levels.